Hi everybody, it's Joni Young here. Welcome back for another acrylic painting tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint Villa Borghese in Rome, Italy. I'm working on an 11 by 14 stretched canvas. I have the following colors: titanium white, cadmium yellow, sap green, Mars black, burnt sienna, light blue violet, and light magenta. I have the following brushes here. I've got a 30 filbert brush, a number 3 round, a 2 rigger, 20 flat, 1-inch mop brush, and a 14 filbert. I'll have links below and a full list of all the materials today for this painting tutorial. The very first thing I'm going to do is wet my canvas with my large filbert brush, just a little bit of water. This preps the canvas to take the acrylic paint a lot better. Once you've added a little bit of water to the canvas, you're going to take some light blue violet, and we're just going to start painting the sky. And I chose this color because it is a violet shade and it's going to be really pretty complementary with some peach tones and of course all the green. All the way down, we're going to have our water here, and the water is going to be reflecting what's above. Come in with some bushes and trees using a mop brush. I'm going to go into a little bit of green first. You just want to tap lightly. Okay, so just so you see how little paint I have. You don't need a lot. Tap, and then we're going to start adding the bushes right down here. The rest down here is going to be reflections in the water and a little path. So we're just going to push and tap. There's going to be trees that come up taller and bushes that come down a little lower. Of the same brush on hand. Up here we've got a taller tree and it reaches out, so we're just gonna, without adding the tree trunk, we're gonna add some leaves first, and then we'll come in and add the tree trunk after. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little bit of cadmium yellow. We'll take that with the green. I haven't washed my brush out, so we're making an olive shade of green. Let's go ahead and just start adding some lighter tones. Just pick a few areas. That way we'll have lighter and darker shades of green. So what we can do is take our brush now, there's lots of paint in there, get a little bit of water on it, and we're just gonna pull and sweep. We want to leave some spaces of blue showing, and we'll go right down to the bottom. And then we're going to come over with our path after. There's a few different techniques I like to apply for water, for reflections. You can wiggle, wiggle, wiggle really close together like this, tightly together. You can pull and sweep this way. Or just choose a few little areas. But this is nice if you want to get those beautiful ripple patterns in the water and your reflections and shadows. And I'm going to tap right down here. This is going to be nice and dark at the water's edge. We're going to add some tree trunks and branches now. So you're going to need a round brush. I have a number 3 round brush here. And I'm going to take a little bit of water and some black and some burnt sienna. I'm not gonna mix them up to make one color. This way we'll get different shades coming out and it'll make the trees look more natural. So let's start on this side. I'm gonna just pull up from the base where the dark edge above the water is. And we'll just pull and kind of wiggle over, twist around, letting off. You want to use a little bit more pressure for those bigger branches, thicker branches, and of course the tree trunk, the base of the tree, and then let off and just use the end of the brush for those smaller ones. Again, a little thicker on the base, and then we're gonna start to let off, twist and roll, travel around, kind of arch over towards the center of the canvas. I'm gonna get a little bit of water on my brush. Thin the paint out a little bit and add a few smaller branches, barely touching the canvas. A little bit further, so further actually going lower. So that brings this area here out where we're going to have our pillars, white and burnt sienna, and we're just going to kind of tap along here. This will make it look more like rocks, stones back here. Okay, I'm going to take a little scoop of blue now, and we'll add little dabs in here for some shadows. Maybe like a old medieval wall here. Take a little bit of white in with it. Just tap and dab, creating all these little dots and dabs here, and it all comes together. I'm going to add some highlights to the trees, and for that I'm going to be taking some more cadmium yellow and some white, a little bit of green. Try to tap to mix the colors rather than going around, because that brings all those, it'll ruin the shape basically. Okay, so you can see how little paint I have on my brush, and I'm going to just start tapping in to add a little bit of white here. The left side, I'll add a little bit here along the left side. And you don't have to highlight, you don't have to add this color of highlight to everything and everywhere. This is a warm yellowy highlight. I am going to sweep down here in the water and add some of that. Brush strokes both ways, up and down, side to side. And I'm going to take some white and a little bit of black, and we're just going to create a grayscale here first. And we're going to start off with right in the middle here. So we're going to go from here and pull down straight like this, and then we're going to go over right by above this tree branch here. Go right over that, get a little reflection going in the water of what we've done already. Here's our pillar, and we're going to leave a little space and come right next to it there, and we're going to put the pillar back here. This is flat back here. We're going to paint the pillar in because of the perspective of this. The pillar is going to come in front, right across. Little wiggles in the water and pull right underneath, and then right above we're going to add a triangle that's really sort of more flat. We're not going to come right up like that, right? It's going to be a lower stretched out triangle, and I'm going to paint it in. So we'll have 1, 2, the third one, because of the perspective, again, is going to come right here, and then the fourth right here. So we're going to pull down, right down, little reflection in the water. However you want to make your little reflections. Dab, 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 or tap, tap, tap. Almost like you're painting a little fence, but because the flat brush creates these little lines, you can just tap along like that. Now we're just going to add white on the top, some white on the bottom. I'm going to go right above this dark line on this skinny rectangle. ahead and add this to our roof line. Got a little bit of white on my pinky. And it's this triangle, the points here on the ends of them are going to come out a little bit wider than the rest of the structure. I'm going to add a dab, dab. And then on an angle, we'll add those ones. I'm going to take some black and I'm going to go right underneath that white outline of the triangle. By adding this black, we're going to make it really dark, and therefore our design is going to show up a lot better. You can come down here and just kind of start smishing around, working out a little bit of that white, but you want to leave it nice and dark right under there. And I'm going to take some black on the end of my brush here. I'm going to tap in some rocks. And all you are is just literally just tapping and dabbing. You don't have to try hard to make it look like rocks. Then you pick up a little bit of white, you tap and dab. So together with the black and white dabs, you end up with some little rocks here at the base of this little building, right? And just add little dabs. We're going to come down and add some little scoops like this. Scoop. I'm going to come in between the little white notches that we originally added. Just push it, dab. And a little line that goes across. Take a little bit of white. And we're going to add a little curve here, straight across, a little curve here. Curve, bring it over, curve. It might not show up until you add more white. And you'll do that for each one of the pillars, just the top of each of them. Then you'll just sweep right off the top, flatten them out. We're going to take a little bit of white. We're going to dab, 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 partially over those little bigger scoops. They look like garlands. The reason why I'm dabbing is so that it looks a little bit ornate from a distance. And I'm going to add a little highlight. Go over that with a little bit of white because I know it's going to dry darker. A little bit more here for some leaves. Maybe some that are a little bit bigger than the rest, closer to this structure here, that show up a little bit more. Here, black and green, adding a little shadow area there. Let's take some more. And then we're going to go leave a space and go above it and start pushing and tapping for some big rocks and the front of where our path is here. I'm going to bring it all the way to the bottom right corner. Let's take some burnt sienna and some black now, and we're just going to sweep, dab, pull, leaving some spaces. We'll pull along the path for a few lines and shadows. I'm going to take some white, a little bit of that peach, and a burnt sienna. I'm going to add little hints of it and fill in the path here. Be a little more generous with the amount of paint I have. Take that yellow, pink, and white again. Got it on the bottom of my brush. Okay, so we've got our rocks, a path there. We feel some light and shadow. Let's take a little bit of, I'm going to use my number 2 rigger brush now, and I'm going to take some of the blue and I'm going to add little hints of blue shadows within the path and some areas of the rocks. And then it's got a little fountain, sort of creating like a little waterfall. So I'm just gonna dab, very impressionistic, first in the blue and then some white. And then pull lightly flat along the bottom. Now I'm going to take some green, some yellow. I'm going to add some wild flowers here along the side. I'm going to pull them up right from the rocks. I might pick up a little bit of black, and it's starting to dry, so I'm just going to go in, pick up a little bit of water, so we can have lighter and darker shades of green, yellow and green. Add a little bit of texture by pushing and tapping. And then I'm going to take some of this pretty pink, magenta, or some shades of red with some white. Okay, and I'm going to just keep going along here. And then when I get into this area here, where it's brighter, we want to create that sunlight. You're going to add a little bit of white. Large tree here in the foreground along the side of the path. Okay, I'm gonna start it up here. I love the shape of this tree. It's really quirky, and so it comes down here, then it bends and comes back down here, scoops and goes over. And there's another thinner one that comes out. Kind of peach color here, a little bit of burnt sienna, and I'm just going to lightly pull and drag. You can even turn the brush over and hold it like this, however you feel comfortable, but you don't want to push too hard. Here, and I'm going to make a nice peachy shade, more white, and I'm just going to come in now with the end of my brush, the pointy part, and just pull little lines to give a little bit of indication of the bark and pattern on the tree. A little bit higher, like brighter. I'll add some little branches coming down here. A little bit of water helps the paint go a lot farther. Some black and green, because the leaves on the tree here are in shadow. So I'm just gonna tap lightly. Don't want it to be solid. I want just a few leaves. Choose a few areas that are going to be a little bit thicker. With a little bit of black in there. Okay, this painting's all done. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for all of your support. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like, and even better if you join Patreon. It helps fund all of the materials and the time it takes for me to make and create these tutorials for you. I do everything myself, from plan the paintings, filming, editing, posting, all of it. It's just me. I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye!